I'm going to go over a few nuclear tickers and also one clean energy play on the 5-minute time frame and give you price targets for Monday. First up is NNE. We ended the week up nearly 8%. Congratulations if you've made some money off of this ticker. To the north side from where we are takes us back to 2 standard deviations at roughly 25.70. Above that, at another level of resistance and a potential take profit area, 26.39, and at 4 standard deviations, roughly 27.04. To the south side, back at the middle of the trend and the baseline, takes us to, whoops, that is not what I'm looking for. That is roughly 24.44. Below that, at -2 standard deviations and another level of support and a potential buy-in area and a potential stop loss area as well, 23.02. 22.38, and at -4 standard deviations, 21.73. Looking left, you can see after we hit resistance down here, we started to fall. But from up here to down here, that is considered support. It depends on what side of the track you're on here. And then this is a clear buy signal down here at support, running up to resistance, another level of resistance, and then we sell off, bounce back up, and then make our way down and then back up to resistance, basically going sideways, busting through this, which has turned into support. And now we're here just straddling no man's land. So the resistance area is up here and the support back down here. And if we go sideways, I will anticipate price to hit this line and make movements possibly off of that. I need to clean up this gap play. We gapped up, so it completes its cycle right there on the way down. So we touched that. Let me make this a little bit compressed here so you can see what happened, the action here. So we gapped up, just a small one, but still I anticipate it to close, and we don't know how long that's going to take, but it did right here on December 10th and opened up roughly on the 21st. So I will delete that, which denotes it's completed. There's no price label on it. And this gap is still in play. This gap is still in play, as well as this gap. We are moving upward, going up on the 5 minutes. So we are moving farther away from this. So this is not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close, but something to be aware of if and when we retrace. Here's a look at earnings. That was on the 27th of November. And TradingView did not give us the financials, but you can click on that if you want to see that. But it's in the green, so that's good. It just probably hasn't been updated because the computer is taking a union break. No, just kidding. I have no idea. Why wouldn't it be updated? Who knows? Now that gap has closed. And then we have a gap. So what happened is we gapped down here. So then I will anticipate it to fill up, but we went down and then basically we went sideways, went down a leg, and now we're going sideways again. So maybe the retracement will take the form of this kind of a U-shaped here, maybe. And then that will take us back to this gap at roughly 33.52, and 37.51 is the 52-week high. So look out for that. And I could delete this. This was a previous. So this was last week's middle of the trend. This is the week before it, and then the week before that. So we went from here to sideways, and then down a leg. But even though we're down a leg, this pattern is still going up. All right. That is it for NNE. OKLO. Option R to reset that. Let's give you some price targets. Resistance, 1936. 1980, roughly 2023. The middle of the trend. This is the median, by the way, this line. But when I say the middle of the trend, it's the middle between here and here. -2 standard deviations and 1 level of support. Again, many levels of support between -2, the middle, and 2 SD. 1761, 1720, 1765. Looking left, this is resistance falling down to a clear area of support and a potential buy-in area, and a rip busting through resistance. Another level of resistance and resistance. People will take their profit and they will run. They will lock in and leave. Every time you see it here, here, or here. And don't hold your breath that we get to 4 standard deviations from wherever we are, because that is not an everyday occurrence. And if we do, and we wick up that level, it will slowly start to roll over. And if you sell at what you think is 4 standard deviations, by the end of the day, it could be at 2 standard deviations. The calculations are constantly changing. Keep that in mind. Oops. Command Z if you want to reset what you just accidentally did. All right. So now that is the middle of the trend. And last week we were up here. And then now we're here. But the previous week, that was, look at this, we've been here. Oh, here, here, here. So we're just kind of in a range here. But this is the range I truly play right here. All right, so if we go sideways, this could be where we go to kind of stop from going south and we go sideways, or we could just follow this line for some more downward action. And obviously you want to check out the 5-minute time frame for the RSI, the daily, the weekly, the monthly. It's going to give you different buy and sell signals. And this one is turning down already, but you know, you never know. It can quickly whip its head around and go back up again. But this is resistance. So I anticipate a little bit of a roll over and then possibly go up. What's the 1-year price target? 21.33. So we're not too far from where we are. NUKZ. And that is where we are. Let me just, escape. So some targets for you: 43.38, 43.85, 44.29, 41.60, 41.15, and 40.72. And as you can see, we're very gappy with this ticker. But there's an open wound down here to the south side that will take us down to roughly 41.26 or 25 there I marked out. This one's a 38.97. Again, just for my own purposes, I like to track it by the week. And that way I can kind of see the direction we're in, still going down. But we could bounce off of support. This right here, we could bounce, or we could just roll over, close it out, which is the best thing for this ticker, and then bounce off of that and then roll down and then close out these tickers. These are open wounds that will take us to the south side if you like to go short. But this one could definitely touch on Monday and then close out on Monday if we continue to go south. All right. Yeah, I added this ticker in thanks to Murat. And this is the ETF, a Nuke ETF. So if you're nervous about playing individual tickers, an ETF is a great way to go. And let me mark this out. So this is this upcoming week. The previous week was here, so that is a fall of roughly 5.54% for the week from the middle of the trend to the next middle of the trend. All right, and any other tickers? Okay, that one closed already, so I need to clean that one up. Yeah, touched right there. And then we moved up, went sideways, went up again, and now we're just headed back down. The next one is SMR, new scale. We ended the day at 2113, down 2.45%. All right, 2180 is one target. That is resistance. And if we hit this level, I anticipate it to fall down a little bit and then possibly bounce back up. But if we follow this trend, that's what it's going to look like. Or if we go sideways, it could touch this point here, this line. 2343, 2421, 2503, 2021, 1939, 1859. Looking left, resistance, falling down, well, then bounce off support, falling down. This is support on the way down, bounce off of that, and now -2 standard deviations and bounce all the way to 2 standard deviations. Did not hit that or that level at the end of the day, and it didn't certainly stay there at this level, melting back down. Not melting up. I don't understand it when I hear people say melting up. Butter doesn't melt up. It just drives me crazy. Things melt and tank. They don't melt up. That's just weird to me. Okay. 2019, 1937, 1856. And looking left, okay, this is the middle. The previous week was here. The week before that was here. And then the week before that was here. You can just see we've made our way down, down, down. And we had a glimmer of hope here when we went from this level. And now, wait, why is this extended over? That doesn't make sense. Oh, maybe it's because I forgot to extend it all the way. No, yeah. No, I've done something wrong. I have sticky fingers. Let me just delete this one. I don't like how it looks, so voila, get rid of it. The most important part is where we are right now. And this is the correct line that I like to mark out if we go sideways. And that is it for SMR. LTBR is my next one. This one has been really whipping us around. All right, we are at, 476. $5 if we go sideways. That's one direction we could go besides just following this line down. 535, 553, don't hold your breath. 571, 466, 447, and 431. Looking left, we hit resistance, falling down, support, breaking through, and then just grinding along this line. This is where the line where price likes to hover before it either makes its way to the upside and busts through, or if we're at this upper level, it slices through that. This is what you should consider, what I definitely consider the resting place. Price naturally wants to gravitate toward the middle of the trend. All right, resistance, falling down, boom, falling, didn't make it here, going sideways. So if we hit this line, which we're still kind of going down on the RSI. Oh, wait, is that a down or an up? No, it's up. Let me move this line. Yeah, it's turning up, so that's good. So move that again. Whoops. Okay. where was I? Let me just give you this price again. 535, and to the south side, 466, 447, and what did I say? 430. Okay, this is where the middle of the trend, if we go sideways, could take us. The previous week we went here, and this line is resistance. This would have been also resistance, even though it was once the middle of the trend. Resistance, all these lines are going to be resistance lines, all heading back up. That gap closed. Do we have anything to look forward to? Oh, let's see what happened here. This gap closed, so let me clean this up. I've tracked this ticker for a couple of traders. So that is done. I have no idea when these gaps fill. I just extend it out to the following week, and then wherever it hits, I have to go back and clean it up. So that went down to 825 to close that gap, and then we fell even lower, almost touched this, but didn't quite. That turns into support, and then just grinding our way back up. But that was weeks and weeks ago. My goodness. Yeah, you really should flip this to the daily, the weekly, the monthly, to kind of give you an idea in the bigger picture where you think we might be headed. I pointed out and circled these resistance lines, support lines. There are many ways to track. Okay, the last one I'm going to go over is CEG. Thank you to Murat for pointing this out. This is not a nuke ticker. It's a clean energy ticker. But he made a comment, and I never got a chance to look at it and then make a video until now. But he pointed this out on the 9th, Monday the 9th. The price was at 243.52 at that time. But his point was he likes the growth of nuclear stocks, he says, but he does not consider this sector an investment sector. It's too risky. So I agree. I don't track it that much. There are other tickers I'd rather trade, but you can make some great gains, and people aren't trading this as much as, let's just say, NVIDIA or AMD or SPY or the triple Qs. So when people are looking the other direction, it's nice to go into a sector that people aren't flooding and driving the price up, or hedge funds aren't getting in yet. But that's just a strategy. Anyway, back to this. So he says, see the short float of OKLO, NNE, and SMR percentages. They're about 20% higher than normal. Many traders like it between 10 and 25. I think Murat likes it maybe around 5% if you can find it. So it just depends on your risk tolerance. But he's pointing out it's higher than normal, so you want to pay attention to that. And then the individual tickers, the nuclears, non-S&P 500, speculative only. And that's why he doesn't like it. Trading, yeah. Deep term investments, not for him. All right. Let me get rid of that. And then he said for me to check out CEG. That's a clean energy. And he considers that an investment and part of the NASDAQ family. And the S&P 500 pool, I'm not really sure what that means, but this is CEG is a large cap ticker. So that's why I want to just go over it really quick, because it's been a very long time since I've looked at this. So first, your beta. Wait, did I say that right? I know, I hear that on YouTube all the time and it cracks me up. But they're talking about beta males. All right. Where is the float? Here, shares float 310. So for OKLO, the float is 72 million. The beta is 1.49. And again, we just talked about this. Volatility increases if you go above 1. So this for the 1 year is 1.49, but bar charts tracks it out to 5 years. So the beta changes depending upon what time frame you're looking at. So keep all those things in mind. Murat does a wonderful job of doing the fundamentals. I do not. This is terrible, but I don't look at them because I'm just doing this for a trade. But if you're just getting in and getting out, you know, it does help you, but volume helps you also, and other things. So it's just a lot. There's so much to look at, and he's excellent at it, and I'm terrible. Okay, so that's OKLO, and then, oops, he said NNE. So the beta on that one is 8. Oh my gosh, that's super volatile. That's crazy. Shares float 20.04 million. And you have to go to a different chart to tell you the percentage, because this doesn't give you, yeah, that tells you nothing. The shares float out of what? How many are there? I don't know. So just keep that in mind. I wish Murat would start a trading channel because I'd love to follow him. And the last one is SMR. So the beta is 3.34. And again, something he is tracking, he tracks. The shares float is 86.25. And for CEG, 310. That just also means there are more shares traded. And they calculate that against regular shares and restricted shares. And again, it's just a lot of stuff to keep track of. But if you're doing long-term investing, it's obviously very important. So, price targets. This is where we are. $242.46 takes us back to the middle of the trend, and that will take us side. This is the line for going sideways. If we follow the linear regression, then we will be going up. All right, so another price target for you at another level of resistance is 248.67. Let me just make this wider here. $251.97, 255.11 to the south side, 235.89, 232.75, and 229.36. All right, and this gap filled out, it went up, so we gapped to the south side, and it closed right about at 317.10, and then it's going up just a little bit, but all these levels of resistance falling back down. This is support, breaking through that, didn't make it to here, started to run again. And this gap closed. The 52-week high is 288.75, and the 1-year price target is 286.30, which represents a nearly 20% return from where we are. So that's not too shabby. Oh, let me take this over to the daily. Right. I think this was an old price target, and this was an old price target that we hit right when I tracked it there again on the 20th. The 52-week high is again 288.75. Okay. 288.75. Let's just mark this out. I'm going to turn this line white. That helps me keep track. 288. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. 286.30. Sorry, 286. I'm going to mark that. Okay. And we are here. This is resistance, resistance, and another level of resistance here. But if we're going to get here, I'm going to tell you that eventually we could make it to here, 305.73, 327.62, and way down the road, if we're lucky, 349.52. What is the outer band of the forecast? So 286.30 and then 342, and then some downside action there. But 342, what did I say? 342. Look at that. 348.95. I wonder where the analysts got their targets. Like I said, if you don't follow analysts, you want to kind of just figure out this stuff yourself, it's not that difficult. It's actually pretty easy. Whoops. But it's nice to see confirmation because how many? 21 analysts here are tracking it. So when I looked at this, what did Marat say? Oh, check out the 4-hour chart. That was the range. Future 233, we busted through that. Utility stock can profit from AI. The note that he sent me back on June 3rd of 2024. Look at the clear resistance, support, resistance, and then falling through back to support. Didn't make it down here and making our way back up on the daily. This is the line that it's creating. Now, on the weekly, see how my linear lines disappeared? There's just not enough info to calculate on this time frame for the linear. So you have to go and recalculate the length of your line, okay? So keep that in mind, but because I don't have it and I don't want to change out my lines right now. But just know, I don't know, there's a target. I mean, we've got targets all over the place, according to the analysts. All right, that does it for me. That is a look at a few nuke tickers and CEG, but I will remove this and maybe do a watch list for clean energy tickers and remove this because it doesn't really belong. But keep track of that. Vanguard Group owns 39 million shares. So keep that in mind when you're thinking, oh God, what's happening with this ticker? It's scary, it's expensive, but the big players own this, and Vanguard is the highest institution, the most shares of any institutions out there. Again, I think roughly 37 or 39 million. All right, that does it for me. Have a great trading day.